Welcome back to the Pull the Chair podcast brought to you by the Grit Network. I am your host, Paris, with my two co hosts, Tyler and Dylan. Tyler, I see you're in a whole new location. How's it going down there, man?
Hey, no matter what happens in life, I could show up, still watch the Mavs get whooped, and still talk with basketball with my buddies. So, hey, life's good, man. Life's good.
I see
You
you,
know,
man.
I,
How
I
you doing, Dylan?
appreciate the glass half. I appreciate the glass full approach. I mean, not to spoil what's going on, but Tyler has had some home problems with the pipes breaking. Like you gotta explain it. You didn't really give us enough of what happened. What
Yeah,
happened with these
man.
pipes?
So I'm live from the Hyatt, man. I came home and there was water literally all over my floor. And I had put my dog up, but she was so wet, and my landlord was going crazy thinking it was my fault, but I'm on the first floor, so something happened on the second floor, and water was just everywhere. And so it's just been a crazy night. I'm over here at the Hyatt, but hey, we're live, we're good, we're in the hood. So hey,
I
let's talk about
Talk
some
some basketball,
basketball.
baby.
So you got this guy got water in his house. My house, we got no water in our house right now. So like water just
What?
like
Yeah.
we just got water, no water. It just.
As a lone water haver, I hope my water stays. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope it stays nice and warm, nothing breaks or anything. I'm living. I'm lucky right now. I'm just
Hey,
happy that we could have another day to talk basketball.
I don't think it's just here at my house. I think the whole city of Dallas got the water cut off because these Mavericks are getting whooped by the Hornets too. So hey, it's a citywide thing.
I got tons of water outside. It's been storming since probably 8 in the morning. I woke up storming. Right now it's storming. Like man, there's water outside. Got it in here.
Yeah, we're supposed to get some of that rain tomorrow, actually. So
Yeah, it ain't no better by me.
Well, getting into basketball, we got a lot to talk about this week. Starting with James Harden. If James Harden's having an injury, we'll talk about that. Giannis return and a possibility of Trey Young returning after getting ejected before he even gets the return for a game. Um, we got a weird NBA sponsorship going on that possibly might happen. We'll talk about that, and then we'll end it talking about the Knicks Spurs facing each other, how the season might end with those two teams. But starting off, James Harden, he has a fracture on his thumb on his non-shooting hand. He says he's not going to get any surgery on it, at least to finish the year out, so he doesn't miss any more games. He's still scoring, but he had 5 turnovers in that game that after he got the injury. So with you guys seeing him being injured, I get it's his non-shooting hand, but he's a point guard, so he's dribbling with both hands. Do you think it's a good idea? It's a good idea for him to just continue with it, or is this going to have some big issues going on?
It's funny because actually, I was actually watching the Celtics game a couple days ago on the first game of the back-to-back against the Sixers, and Bailey Sharman was playing with a little thumb cast. Like I guess he's having his fair share of finger problems. I mean, I think it just comes down to because it's not and it's on his non-shooting hand. He can at least maneuver around with it. It's not like the end of the world per se, but it's definitely one of those things where God forbid you land on it weird or something happens. Like you're one step away from just having way worse damage to your hand, your finger, and I mean, I think it's one of those things. Like much respect for Harden for trying to push through it, and like he kind of knows that like this may be one. Like I don't want to put like into perspective, but like this feels like his one of his last real chances at going for a championship. So he wants to be there. He knows
yeah,
that surgery ends the season, so it's like he's
Hmm.
doing everything he can. So I respect it.
man, this is very, very disappointing for not only Harden but for Cleveland. As I've been so high on Cleveland, and if I'm a Boston fan, I'm happy because that was one of their biggest threats to in the East. Them, the Knicks, the Pistons, but. So basketball players know shooting hand or not shooting hand, that hand is very important. And you won't be able to do what you're normally able to do. And this is a big damper on the Cleveland Cavaliers and James Harden in particular. And Dylan brought up a good point because this might have been James Harden's best chance to get a title. he's been talked about as one of the elite stars to not get a title for so long, and for him to break his hand, not shooting hand, but still to break his hand at this juncture in the season, it is very, very disappointing. I would be, man, if I'm a Cleveland fan, I'm absolutely very worried about this. I do think it's going to have an effect on him, and I do think it's going to have an effect on the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, definitely with James Harden this year. I mean, this year he's been averaging 25 points. I mean, 25 points and 8 assists, and that's a key piece right there. And you injure your thumb, like I said, even if it's not on the shooting hand. I mean, you're a point guard. You handle the
Right.
ball, so you're dribbling either hand. If you can't go one direction, and then they get to the playoffs, and you can only get pushed in one direction, yeah, that severely limits you. And I mean, it's going to make it harder for him to score. It's going to make it harder for him to get people open, and then you're going to be back to the Cavaliers with the Donovan Mitchell has to lead the show, and we've kind of seen, at least playoff wise, Donovan Mitchell leading the show. What that ends up with the Cavs, that doesn't get them far.
I think the worst part is that's his thumb. That's the problem. Like, if
Hmm.
this was like one of his middle digits, like his ring finger or his middle finger, you could at least kind of circumvent it. But like, as far as grip goes, that thumb is the most vital finger to grip and like control and do any kind of basic movement. So I do think Paris, it was a good point as far as like dribbling the basketball. Like, he's not going to be able to dribble his right as well as he used to be. um, it's definitely gonna put a hamper on his defense too. I mean, I know Harden's not the most notorious defender, but it feels like at least recently, he's been more high effort, and hopefully he doesn't start getting scared or wanting to do less because again, they need him. He has been such an X factor for the Cavaliers, and they've been very hot since he joined the team that something like this is so catastrophic for them
And you
because
talk
you
about, go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry, finish off.
No, no, no. You could go.
But I was saying, like you talked about his physical limitations. I mean, think about also for a basketball player mentally, that is always going to be in the forefront of your mind. What can I do with my hand? What will happen if I do this to my hand? And yeah, I think it's going to have a huge effect. Can he physically be out there? Yes. Will he be able to be even 60% of what James Harden could be? That's going to be hard to tell. You know, like
And
deep
definitely with it being a
defense.
thumb, I think we've
Yeah,
all had a jam thumb before, a jam finger. One, that shit hurts. But
Yeah.
two, just like catching the ball with something like that. Oh, it hurts to just catch the ball. You get a ball thrown at you too hard, bam, hit your thumb. Now you feel all you do is feel your thumb. It's just that's just I feel
Well,
like that's
and,
that's
you gotta have a cast on it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. So you're not gonna have the
yeah.
same amount of flexibility that you had before.
And if you get any other season, like any other situation, he'd be sitting on the bench. But he knows that this was his opportunity, and they were playing so damn good. I'm just devastated for the city of Cleveland right now. I'm
if
hoping that Donovan, and you brought up a good point with Donovan Mitchell. All eyes on him now, and everything's on his back. And he has not been able to answer in the past. Can he get enough from a hobbled James Harden to get where they need to be? I don't think so. I,
and
I, I
with
don't
him
think
being
so.
injured like this, do you think possibly they have to start maybe somebody like Dennis Schroeder and let James Harden come off the bench?
I
I
don't think they
mean,
can do that. I don't think they can afford that. Honestly, it's tough. It's like, and look, this is a team that's won 7 of their last 10. They only lost 3 times in all of February, and then even in January since the trade deadline, like they only lost how many times in January? Now I just
Like
forget. I
two, three.
lost
They
it.
went on a good streak when they first got James Harden, where they weren't losing at all. They
Yeah, yeah, exactly. In January, they started off slow, but then again, once the trade deadline hit, they only lost 2 times in the second half of January, and then 3 times in February. So it's like 5 losses since you got James Harden is very impressive. And now, like
yeah,
again, he's leaving it all on the line. He's respect, no doubt, but it's definitely gonna be a big problem. Like, do you start him? Do you sit him? That's definitely a question. And James Harden doesn't want to sit; he wants to
right.
play. So you can't tell him no.
it's a problem. It's an
And
absolute problem.
going to another team in the East, we'll talk about the Celtics. And first, before we mention Jaylen Brown, because Jaylen Brown's out here making history in his year that he,
Mm-hmm.
without Jason Tatum. I want to mention Nimius Queta with this 27 point, 17 rebound game against the 76ers. Uh,
Yeah,
Man.
I talk about it like that was the game I watched, and he already going into the halftime, he already had a double double. He was already like somewhere like 17 points, 12 rebounds, something ridiculous. Like, I mean, the Sixers couldn't buy a bucket at certain stretches, so he was just grabbing boards. And then also the Sixers with that Embiid, I didn't realize how small of a team they were. Obviously, they don't have Paul George because he decided to take drugs that are illegal to the policy, so that doesn't help either.
Shots
But
fired.
like, hey man, that's what you gotta pay the price if you're not, if you don't pay attention to drug policy. And it's like, yeah, they had such a small team, and someone like Kato, who's like damn near 7 foot and as big as he was just grabbing boards, dunking on people, and he plays old-fashioned basketball. Like he's not stretching the court like a cat would. So he's getting 27 points by getting into the paint, dunking on dudes' heads, and making your free throws, which is very underrated for a big if you're not good at shooting to be able to make your free throws. He was very good at his free
yep,
throws, and he had a couple blocks. I believe he had somewhere like 2 or 3 blocks as well. So all he was all over
three
the place,
blocks.
man. I'm very excited about it. And like they started him over Vooch, and Vooch didn't have a good game off the bench, so it makes you think of Missoula's maybe kind of playing around with different lineups just to see, because they're still messing around. They had a 4 White plus Derek White lineup against the Bucks and friggin' smoked
Poor
Giannis. So
White.
really, it's an all white. It's an all white starting lineup, and they smoked the Bucks with
Bringing back that Larry
Giannis.
Bird lineup right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
and
Maybe
when you
Pet.
lose to a loser like that, man, I mean, you know how it is. It's a pride thing. You can't lose to four white dudes. But Boston's got to
No.
be Bo- Boston's got to be looking at their chops right now. You heard Bill Simmons say that Jason Tatum could come back Friday against the Dallas Mavericks. And when you have Jaylen Brown doing what he's doing, plus you have the team playing the way it's playing, this team is a formidable threat to win the East. And I'm not just throwing that out there. This team is locked in right now. And then you add Jason Tatum, who's his documentary is going to come out. You've seen little clips of it. What a
Everybody needs a
story out
documentary
of
nowadays.
Boston.
Jesus Christ.
And you know
Heck
what?
yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is, but it is remarkable that he is about to play coming 9 months out of an Achilles tear.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
So
he's been on a big media tour. Like he's definitely been like doing the ads, he's doing the podcasts and everything. My
hmm
only thing with the Celtics, and I know Tatum's thought about it. He on one of the podcasts he was on, he mentioned just like how well this team is gelling. How is someone like him gonna just step right in right at the end of the season? How does he fit? Because when we last left off with the Celtics, the playoffs against the Knicks, Jason Tatum, he when he's on his game, he's top five. He's been a perennial first team All NBA for years before this injury, like no doubt. But when he has his bad games, when he's forcing his shots and
hmm
he like bricks and bricks and bricks and he's just almost trying to shoot himself out of a slump, like I'm just afraid that now, especially with this Achilles injury, like he's not gonna be as explosive as he used to be. He's not gonna do all the same, as far as like defense wise, like he's not going to be the same defender he was, at least in the immediate future. Maybe next season with a strong, as things heal up. Hopefully he doesn't re injure it because that's another thought. Like, we saw Klay Thompson have back-to-back seasons losing seasons with Achilles injury. He was only practicing the offseason when he blew his Achilles out. So if he gets a second Achilles injury, his career is done. At least his peak is just done, and that's it. So ideally, hopefully, I want to see a Tatum that could put his ego aside and be more of a facilitator and getting the shots when he can rather than just forcing his shots. But we'll only know when we see how he looks when he gets back on the court.
definitely with
and we
Jaylen Brown this year. I mean, Jaylen Brown showed he can lead the team. If when Jason Tatum comes back, he should at least let Jaylen Brown continue to carry this team this year. Obviously, Jason Tatum being out there,
absolutely.
it's gonna help.
Mm.
He can get his shots, and I mean, we've seen people come back. Kobe came back. Kevin Durant's come back, still played, and he can shoot. So Jason Tatum can shoot. We know he has a shot. He can hit this mid range. But with Jaylen Brown doing his thing this year, just continue to let Jaylen Brown do his thing. one, it makes it having Jason Tatum out there should make it easier for Brown to still score even more. But two, make it easier for Tatum to get open on 3-point shots and mid range shots because Jaylen Brown's been averaging dropping just 30 points a game. Let him do that. Continue to let him do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you know what? We talked about the situation in Cleveland. Kenny Atkinson has a hard job, but Joe Mazzulla has one of the hardest jobs now to the way he's going to implement Tatum because you can't just tell Jason Tatum, hey, well, you're going to have to actually, but it's going to be hard to tell somebody of his caliber, hey, take a step back to these guys. But how he's going to implement Jason Tatum in a team that is already playing so well, it's going to be crazy. He's got his work cut out for him, but I'm interested to see how this goes. And Jaylen Brown, the good thing about it is you do have one of the greatest leaders, a two-way leaders on the floor leading that team, and you have so many other players that are stepping up and playing their roles so well. It's almost like you just want to sprinkle Jason Tatum in a little bit and see what he could do without. You're not going to fully unleash him anyway. He's 9 months out of an Achilles. You're not going to send him doing what he's doing. So all eyes on Joe Mazzola to see, hey, how do you implement him and how do you get this team to buy into everything with him on the floor?
Yeah, so I hopefully I hope Tatum really embraces the point forward. Like, it's not a real position of point forward, but it's more of a role, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
because he's always like, I mean, like the whole point of the Anthony Simons trade is to get another big to give us more length, and by proxy losing that guard, like Derek White's not a real true ball handler, facilitator. Like
He's
he's
more of a shooting guard.
fantastic catch and shoot. Yeah, he's way more of a shooting guard. He's a fantastic catch and shooter, especially when he's open, and fantastic on defense as well. But um and Jaylen Brown has been facilitating a lot too. So it's one of those things where and it's natural for these NBA stars to have their own ego. Like, of course, Tam wants to go out there and dominate. That's all he's wanted to do. That's all he's going to do. Like you said, Tyler, Missoula definitely has a tough task here to control everybody and make sure that focus, because focus is definitely going to be a big thing. And we even saw Jaylen Brown early in the season posting on X like that image of last year's offensive rating and standings and defensive rating before the All-Star break from last year to this year, and they were just about the same, if not better. Which I mean, I understand where Brown was coming from in that sense, where it's like, oh, it's supposed to be a gap year, but we haven't missed a beat. But
Yeah.
Tatum definitely has to look at that a certain way and be like, well, that doesn't make me look good. So he's gonna wanna be out there and establish his dominance. And I know Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum work well together. That's not there's no animosity. They're more professional more than anything. Like they don't seem like the closest friends, but again, you don't have to be friends. You just gotta be able to get along and work. 'Cause at the end of the day, it's a job for them. So
Mhm.
it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how
Yeah.
all this works. I hope he facilitates. It's all I hope. Tatum could just facilitate better. Don't force shots. Celtics will be just fine.
Yeah, and to wrap
And
and to
they're
end up
NBA
like,
champions.
oh yeah, and
They're
I just want to
NBA
wrap up the
champions, so
76ers game. We mentioned Vucevic and having a good game, but between Kada and Vucevic together, they combined for 29 rebounds. So
And
I mean, like having two centers like that, that has them be able to compete with a team like, again, if they face the Knicks, I don't think they lose to the Knicks, but the Knicks have that big man presence. Having Kada and Vucevic down there, they got a big man presence now down there. So
and and also you can't sleep. There's another guy. I mean, not enough people know about him yet because he's only a rookie. But Hugo Gonzalez, like
yeah.
on the second half of that back to back, he had an 18 point, 16 rebound double double, and like
yeah,
like he's just 19 years old, man. So it's like if it just feels like they really are firing on all cylinders when you could get a 19-year-old to play 35 minutes. He's a guard, mind you. Mind you, he's a shooting guard as a position, and he's able to do a 18-16 double double with five
insane.
stocks. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
insane. And then to go into Jaylen Brown, because we've been talking about him, he broke 13,000 points. He's only the 12th player in Celtics history to break 13,000 points, and I feel like 13,
12,000.
12,000.
12,000. Sorry, no, no, you're right. You're right. Sorry, I
Okay,
apologize. 13,000. You're right. You're right. Sorry.
in which
12
13,
teams.
yeah,
12 players. Sorry.
13,000. it's one of those in your head doesn't seem like crazy enough, but like when only 12 players in all of Celtics history, we're talking about probably the one, if not the greatest, not the second greatest, the greatest basketball organization in the NBA, and only 12 players, other players in the Celtics history have done this. That shows where Jaylen Brown is, and he's only 182 points away, 188 points away from 11th, 190 from 10th. So by the end of the season, this dude's going to be top 10 in Celtics history of points. Ninth, then it goes to Jason Tatum, right when Jason Tatum's about to come back. So, them two are going to be dueling it for a top 10. But what a year. I mean, what a career so far for Jaylen Brown. But again, this year, what a year for Jaylen Brown. And a year that was supposed to be a gap year. And he's dominated this year.
And
Eh,
people were saying whether him and Jason Tatum could mesh, and they were wondering whether they should keep them two together. And then they made Jaylen Brown the highest paid player ever at the time, paying him over 300 million. And now we're a few years later saying he's earning every dollar of that. He's got a
mhm.
ring now, and he's man, and it's awesome to see. I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. It's hard for me to give flowers when it's like this, but Jason or Jaylen Brown has earned every bit of the respect that he's going to get. He should get more. He's outspoken about some of the media and other people not giving him his respect as a two-way player, but he gets his everything that's coming to him. He's deserved it. He's worked hard. He's been a great role model for the NBA, and for that franchise, he's going down now as one of the greats. And he's still not even done. Not even scraped the surface on what he could do. And so, man, big amount of
I mean,
respect for Jaylen Brown.
yeah, I mean, especially with a franchise like the Celtics that goes back to the
Yeah.
original teams that played in the NBA. When you look at the top 10 players, I mean, like, I know JoJo White's 11, but just looking
Hmm.
at the top 10, as far, like, if you wanted to say the modern day players that had a 3-point line introduced, like, you had Paul
Mm-hmm.
Pierce at 24,000, Larry Bird at 21, Parrish at 18, McHale at 17. And the rest of these guys, you have the Bill Russells, the Sam Jones, the Havliceks, like all of them, they played so long ago that like it really puts in perspective, especially someone like Jaylen Brown that first off has been super loyal. Like his ego, like like I was talking about ego before. Like he, of course, he has his own. Like he wants to be acknowledged. He wants to be respected as one of the stars, which as he should be. And he still
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get. I still don't think he gets that. I've been seeing people say that he's not even like first team All NBA, which again, ridiculous. But I know there's also like a lot of other well-deserving players too. It's not an easy thing. Um, Not an easy year to be a voter. But at the same time, like you've pretty much been the second guy all your career behind Tatum, and you're right there as far as points go. Tatum has 13,784, and friggin' Jaylen Brown is just behind him, just breaking 13,000. So, and Jaylen Brown also had played another year more than Tatum, and technically he has 2 years now over him, considering that Tatum pretty much missed all this season anyways. But the fact that those two have gelled the way they have, they brought home a championship, which is like as a Boston fan, like that's the litmus test. It's just like if you win a championship, you're just a legend forever. And
Mm-hmm.
now, like Jaylen Brown, he should be a first team All NBA this year. He should be in the MVP conversation, but I don't think he's even gonna get that.
He should be.
It kind of feels like he's just an afterthought. He may barely even get any votes. He may get a fifth or fourth place vote, maybe,
I
from
mean,
what
he's
from the way people are talking about him.
he's like demanding his respect at this point, and it's got to follow. You just got to give it to him, man. You got to give this dude his flowers. Look at what he's doing.
I mean,
People
he
wrote
almost
him.
averages 30 points.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Jaylen Brown this year is averaging 29 points a game with 7 rebounds and 5 assists a game. I mean, like,
and not to
that,
say what he does on the defensive end. He sometimes guards, or I mean, sometimes he all the time guards the best player. He wants
yeah.
that matchup. He wants the smoke on the defensive end, and so man, respect.
And,
Funny
keep
enough,
in mind,
go
sorry, one
ahead.
more thing. Just one more thing. The points, rebounds, assists are all career high point per game totals for him. He never broke 5 assists per game. This is the most rebounds he got in a single season, and again, 29 points per game. The next closest year was 22-23 when he averaged 26. So by all measures, as far as like the exception of maybe steals, like he's pretty much just been on top of everything, making sure this team is as competitive as they are.
Just when I saw in the
Ah,
comments, we got
there it
some Nicola
is.
Flippage saying Jaylen Brown stinks. The Celtics are plus 14 without him, and
Oh,
they're plus 5 with them and plus 14 without him.
Plus
Now,
14
what I'll say
what?
about that, plus what I'll say about that without seeing, watching all the Celtics games is that they only reason they probably plus 14 without him is because the Celtics bench is better than the rest of the league's bench. I mean,
it's the net rating. He's talking about net ratings, and again, you could cherry pick all the stats that you want, but you can't deny that he has been the number one dude on a team that's 41 and 20, second seed. Like the next closest scorer is what, Peyton Pritchard, and he's your sixth man right now. Like he's not even a starter for the team. Derek White maybe in that same like air, but not
yeah,
a
you said
sing.
Derek
Jalen
White
Brown's the
off the
only
bench
All
is a
Star with the bench.
yeah,
Yeah,
You
but
got to go
bench.
Jalen
out of
Brown's
your
the only All
way.
Star.
You got to go out of your way to hate on Jaylen Brown at this point.
Well, that's how it goes. I mean, again, as a Boston fan, it's just what you expect. It's try not to feed the trolls. I mean, dude has Alex Caruso as profile picture, so I bet he's probably a big fan of Payne Pritchard and Sam Hazard too. But yeah, it's just like I mean, again, it's just like they'll cherry pick anything to not give Jalen Brown credit. They said that he didn't deserve the $300 million and he couldn't shoot with his left hand, and let's not forget, he held that NBA Finals trophy with his left hand because, it's a big FU to people like you, Nicola Floppage.
Damn.
So,
That's a
again,
flex.
yeah. I mean, his
Funny
name is
enough,
Nicola Floppage. He's a born hater.
but funny
Nah.
enough, at the beginning. I was part of the. I never hated Jalen Brown, but I was kind of with that thing of Jalen Brown and Jason. Didn't think Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum were ever gonna mesh, just
Yeah.
because at first the first thing I was seeing it would be Jason Tatum would have a great game and Jalen Brown wouldn't do anything, or Jalen Brown would have a great game and Jason Tatum wouldn't do anything, and it was like that for some time. And I was like, yeah, them two are both stars. You could see that, but it was like together, it's always one or the other. And then they won a championship. You can't say anything about them not working together if they win a championship. It worked. That worked. And then they go to the finals the next year. Like, okay, you can't talk about that not work. That they're not. They can't mesh. They're there every year.
And, and the consensus was it would always be Jason 1, Jalen 2, but they flipped the script. I mean, you got the Finals MVP, and he ended up, you know, becoming the one. I mean, in a sense, it's 1A, 1B, but nobody really had him doing that. And
It,
and to see him do it, and I like his work ethic. I mean, his work ethic sometimes doesn't go, you know, notice as much, but the guy puts in the work. He's a hard worker. He's a good guy. Got to give it to him.
yeah, only a real hater would turn positive net rating stats into a negative. Like, okay, dude. Like,
And also, he says this that
turn
he's a bum. He has a lot of turnovers, which means if
uh,
he's saying that, he must
he's the
also
main
hate.
ball handler.
I
He's
mean,
the
he
main
one he
ball
must
handler.
also hate Luka Doncic then, because
He's
Luka has turned the
trolling.
ball. Luka has
He's
13
Troll
assists and 10
trolling.
City.
turnovers, and
He's rage
Jokic has
baiting
4
me.
turnovers a game. So,
Every
but
main, if you look at every main ball handler, I guarantee you, every ball handler is the highest turnover guy in every single team.
that's not how it
Like,
works.
what are we? It
That's why
just makes
Tyrese
no sense.
Halliburton was such a big talk last year, because Tyrese Halliburton doesn't turn over the ball as the point guard, and that's why
Hmm.
I was like, how can this dude do all these assists and not turn the ball over? That was why he was such a big talk. But we're gonna move on talking about some people returning. Giannis returned last night. Obviously, they got destroyed by the Celtics, but I'm not too worried about it just yet, just because that was his first game back. Trey Young supposedly returning too pretty soon after getting ejected before he even hits on the court for the Wizards. He got ejected for talking to the ref about Tari Eason. Both of them got ejected, but Trey Young gets ejected before his even first game starts. That's just kind of funny to see. But Giannis comes back for the Bucks. They get destroyed by the Celtics again. Your first game back after 15 games, and then traded for Cam Thomas while he was out. You face one of the best teams in the league. I'm not too worried about it. I didn't know if you would come back this year, though. I mean, they're already out. I think they're out the plan at this point. with them in for the Bucks, they will make the play. They 100% will. And they have a team that's good enough to beat some teams in the East. They're not a obviously they're not going to beat any of the top teams in the East. The 1 through 4, they're not going to beat. Potentially could fight with the Cavs with James Harden be injured. Potentially. But 1 through 3, they're not competing. But when it gets down to 5, the Raptors and 76 with the Magic, with Giannis back, the Bucks could beat the Raptors and 76 with the Magic, in my opinion. With Giannis, with Kevin Porter, Ryan Rawlings, Cam Thomas, Bobby Portis, that team can beat a Raptors or 76ers, a Magic. So I don't think they can't go all the way, but they can at least compete, depending on who they get in the playoffs. If you ask me, they're beating anybody in the play-in. I tell you that.
I mean, it's gonna be tough, man, because this Bucks team is
Yeah.
just they're gutted. They're not even like that's been a team that's just steadily fallen off year over year, and Giannis is doing the will they won't they kind of thing. We're trading him, and I mean I think it was I know Giannis is a very loyal dude, so he's like kind of like he doesn't want to burn bridges per se, but we saw how terrible that ended with Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers. Like at this trajectory, at least Giannis was able to bring a championship to Milwaukee. Like, no one's been able to say they've done that since the 70s. So, it's like very impressive, and he's a bona fide top five guy, no doubt, year in and year out. No denying that. But when you look at the rest of his team, it's like you're gonna want Ryan Rollins. Was he? I don't think he's a rookie, but he's at very least a
It,
second year guy.
he's pretty
Like
young.
he yeah, and like
Oh,
Kyle Kuzma, you tell me Kyle Kuzma is gonna be your guy, like a vet, like a friggin' like a real stand long vet with his long sleeves and bright colors going a lot. Like I'm sorry, now I'm turning into like boomer takes, but this like you don't have the Chris Middleton, you don't have the real guard that's gonna be able to gel well with Giannis. It's gonna be another, all right, let's give Giannis the ball. He's gonna run through everyone and dunk on people's heads and let's play that back a year again and again and again. I could see the Magic maybe like because they're a lengthy team at the maybe be the seventh seed. Maybe the Bucks could fall into that eighth seed depending on what goes on. And who knows? Maybe Charlotte. Will Charlotte finally make the playoffs this year? Charlotte may finally make it,
I
guys.
told you they
You never
were. I
know.
told you they were. And for the
I mean,
Bucks, I got to see this team string together some wins before I start talking about them doing anything in the playoffs because this team can't win the game it's supposed to win. The few that they are supposed to win, they can't even win those. The Cam Thomas fall off since those first few games needs to be studied because that's crazy. And yeah, this team has underperformed, underperformed, underperformed all season long.
got Doc Rivers
And
effect.
and that's that.
Oh,
And honestly, that's what I was getting to. Is
ugh.
it's just a crap show in Milwaukee, and Doc Rivers, says all the right things in the media. Was talking trash about Shams because Giannis is staying. Well, you got Giannis now. You got the team. Now what, Doc? Now what is
Oh.
the answers for all of these terrible, terrible losses that we're watching? You can't get these guys ready to play. Kyle Kuzma, say what you want about him. You should be able to use him. You should be able to get something out of him. You're not getting nothing out of him. Absolutely nothing. And
Oh, please.
so, and you know what? Yeah, but he should be doing more than he's doing, is what I'm saying. And
I Oh, I'm
yeah.
about to blow up on Doc Rivers because again, as a Celtics fan, he gave us that ring against the Lakers, and since that year, he has been the biggest choke artist, disappointment, fake friggin' coach. Like, I always love when they do like the sideline, like, oh, mic'd up coach and Doc Rivers, oh, you gotta just go out there and play your game. Oh, you just gotta go out there and play basketball and score more points than the other team. Like my voice hurts just trying to do a Doc Rivers impression. Oh, I just killed my voice. Oh no. But
He's trying.
this is no, I literally killed it because of
Doc.
fucking Doc Rivers. Literally, he took over a 30-13 Bucks team. They cratered, and
This dude needs
now
some water.
this
This is
year,
how bad it is to be Doc Rivers.
Now
Like,
you actually sound
golly.
like him.
yeah, yeah, guys, I took over a 30-13 season record team, and now my team's 26-34 with way more games played. How do you do that? I don't know. I'm Doc Rivers. I can't coach a team for my damn life.
Also, there's no way to explain getting rid of a coach who's 30-13.
No.
That's the
That was
worst thing.
crazy.
That should have been the moment that Giannis says, "I got to get the hell out of here,"
Even Jay
because
Crowder called
like
that out.
Yeah, it's
I
terrible.
who wouldn't? I'm pretty
Talking
like
about some, oh, we just don't play good defense. Well, 30-13. Oh,
yeah, I mean like that's like when the Grizzlies fired their
And then
coach just before the playoffs, or the Nuggets when they did that too.
mhm.
You're just like you're not even rewarding the coaches that are getting you there. You're just getting rid of them because you want to get some money relief.
and you bring Cam Thomas in, and you see what he does the first couple games, and then you can't get nothing from him. That's coaching. That's absolutely coaching.
Yeah.
Like, and now
I
you
mean,
have Giannis back, and
That's
you can't. Yeah.
he's a big Milwaukee fan. He knows to blame Doc, and talking about just getting rid of his last coach. Yeah, I mean, this,
eh,
you
they
can't explain that. You can't explain that.
I
No,
mean
30-13, bro. Who fires a 30-13 coach?
And talking about Cam Thomas, I
Because of
don't think okay. Cam Thomas is very streaky. Cam Thomas is a very streaky guy. Now, him dropping 2 points against the Celtics is like, all right, man, can we do something? But like Cam Thomas, this is why I think it's perfectly fine to have Cam Thomas on the bench because he's a very streaky guy. He can go out there and drop 30. He can. But then he could go out the
yeah.
next game and drop about like 5. And that is what you're going to get at Cam Thomas. And that's why, honestly, picking him up off a free agency is kind of the perfect move. Because you don't want to give up too much for him, but he can score on a good
I
day.
mean, I mean,
yeah,
like,
but
I hope Nikola Flopic is still here because if you want to talk about someone that all he can do is score and literally can't do anything else, it's literally the key person here. I mean, this is someone that right now between this year he averaged 3 assists with the Nets because he was like one of the main guys with the ball, which is
And Michael
arguably one of
Porter.
his best per games. But once he came to the Bucks, he only averages 1 assist per game. Steals and blocks. He averages point 0.1 and point 0.2 on blocks and steals respectively.
How
He
Cam
can't
Thomas get
even.
out assisted by Michael Porter?
and
Well, yeah.
the
But
problem is because of the roster. You need consistency from him, and you just can't get it. And so it would be different if it was like a team like let's say the Knicks or somebody that has a good solid core. This team needs that sort of production, and they're just not getting it. And so, are they going to fire Doc Rivers? Because you kind of got to. You kind of
you
got
would
to
have thought they
fire
would
the
have done it
dude.
by now. Fuck, they done
Yeah,
it
if
by
they
Yeah,
now.
fired a
Doc.
30-13 coach, how are you not going to fire this guy? Like, oh, because he's
He.
Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers
No,
and
It's
Darvin
the
Ham.
Doc
name.
Rivers hasn't done nothing in years. He's been a laughing stock of the NBA. Get him out of here.
How many 3-1 chokes does he have in the playoffs?
I mean,
More than one.
he was
That's
more of
for
an
sure.
embarrassing coach with the Clippers. The Clippers always underperformed. With their team with CP3, JJ Redick, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, that was a team that was supposed to do something, and they always were like, playoffs lost. Okay, this team, even y'all make it to the finals, y'all should be beating some teams in the playoffs. Y'all can't beat anybody in the playoffs every year. Y'all getting embarrassed in the playoffs.
He also coached some elite 76ers teams too, and they never did anything with any of those teams. Like he was on the Sixers for like the 2020 to 2023 season, so like not quite the peak Sixers, but I mean, again, you still had MVP level Embiid. You had a young Maxi who's been friggin' outstanding, and like they
Yeah,
can't even get past the second round. Can't even get past the second round with them. So I'm done with Doc Rivers. He has to go. He needs to
yeah,
just disappear.
And as they say, the front office where we need to point blame, 100%. 100%.
Oh
100%.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, Doc Rivers is terrible. He's not a good coach, but like they're going with them. They're like, oh, we want to get rid of our 30-13 guy, but keep this guy who just underperforms. That's our
And
coach. And we can bring in Darvin Ham.
that was a front office. Yeah, and that was a front office that brought the pieces together, Drew Holiday, to win the championship, and then since then has absolutely failed the organization.
Getting rid of Drew
They
Holiday.
have not, and it reminds me of the Mavs after 2011 when they won their championship. Like after that, you got to build, you got to keep going, you got to, you've showed yourself that you could do it. Now you can't go backwards, and all they've done is just gone completely downhill. And they've been looking for answers, and they've been dialing up the wrong one.
Now we mentioned a little bit of. Oh, good. You gonna say something, Dylan?
Oh no, I mean it was really just like I think it's just the sheer fact that like I mean especially someone like Chris Middleton who kind of fell off a cliff, like he was a really big part of that finals run, and obviously Drew Holiday, like they got too greedy and went for the Dame Lillard who was just not
It's
who
just
he
old,
once
old
was.
Dame Lillard. Like,
Well, yeah, you got expired goods to come in and kind of be that next guard. And again, a prime Lillard would have been great for Giannis, but ever since he joined the Bucks, he was just super injury prone. He wasn't nearly the scoring factor that he once was. And I think it does come down to Giannis is just not an easy star to build around either, and especially when you're in Milwaukee, that is not a free agent destination whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
Like you
yeah,
have to make moves to do it, and it feels like they've only done the wrong moves. They haven't done any
brought in Kyle
proper building.
Kuzma, got rid of Drew Holiday. Which, if they kept Drew Holiday, one, I think this team would consistently be better. But two, I'm not gonna go out and say, oh, they would have beat the Pacers, but they would have took the Pacers at least 6 games because Drew Holiday can defend,
That
and
was a
we
fatal
saw
He's
error.
special.
we saw
He's
we saw
he's
what Lou
balling
Dort
on
did
the
to Tyrese. Lou Dort locked up Tyrese sometime.
and Drew
Yeah.
Holiday's still balling. Like he's
Yeah,
a 16-year vet. This year he's averaging 16 points per game. That's better than his career average.
Without
He's
that
assisting at the
steal,
same level. He's so good.
w- yeah, without what he did in that game against the Suns, the Bucks would not have any championships in a franchise. And
yeah.
and so, man, and then you get rid of him. Like, come on.
It makes no sense. So we mentioned Trey Young a little bit. You know, he's returning on Friday. I say he got ejected, but the Hawks, the team he left, trying to do this magic, having a Magic City promotion against the Magic. I don't think there's any way to explain this in the NBA other than this is a dumb idea. I don't even know why they even thought about doing this. This is a stupid thing. This might be the dumbest thing I've heard.
It's funny because a lot Stephen A. Smith has endorsed Magic City being good. Just about every basketball player with money has said that Magic City's been nothing but great. But known woman respecter Luke Cornett stood up against the NBA and said, "No, we need to respect women. This should not go through." And I stand with Luke Cornett, fist up.
Hey, and you
But
know what? Go ahead.
but like, I mean, but like, just as from an optics standpoint, right? Just like as being fully serious, you know, the fact that like sports in general is supposed to be a family outing. Like usually you're supposed to take out family, you have kids running around, enjoying the game and whatnot. Like typically you want to be able to gear the next generation of kids to become fans. And how are you going to like imagine you're a Hawks fan, right? You go to the basketball game, you get your Magic City sweatshirt, and then you go into school the following Monday, and the teacher is like, "Why are you wearing a strip club sweatshirt? You need to go to the front office and go home and change." Because like literally that's what you're doing. You're
Yeah,
endorsing a strip club to children or other like just about everyone like and money's money, money talks, and I know that Magic City has been notorious. Lemon Pepper Lou didn't become Lemon Pepper Lou until he went to the Hawks, and you know,
yeah,
was just a beast. You know,
yeah.
like those I love lemon pepper wings, man, but I don't know if I could really stand for a strip club sponsoring a team for a night. I don't. That's a bridge too far, if you ask me.
And you know what? Like, and to think, and they're gonna say, "Oh, it's about the chicken wings." We know damn well what this is about.
Not the
And
chicken wing.
and you know what? Like, it shows where we're at as a society because, like you said, this is a money thing. This is a money thing, and willing to do anything to get money. I cannot see how this is a good look for the NBA. And I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, I'm like, a perfect guy and would never ever have never or would never like even consider a strip club, but to promote it in the sense of the public eye, and I totally get it where Luke Connett's coming from. It's not a good look for the NBA. It really
No.
isn't. And okay, so they get a bunch of money, but at what do
No.
you have to, like is that
What
for
cost? At what
what?
cost are we doing
At
this
what
for?
Right?
cost? And it's sad that they know that this is what'll bring in the money. They know because we're just in a different world today, But for the kids, this has always been a game where kids are always involved. And now you're explaining to your 8-year-old who's watching the game what is going on, and that's when it becomes the issue. It's like, hey, Daddy, what's Magic City? Magic City is a strip club in Atlanta,
I'll take
and
you when you're 18, son. Don't you worry.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
what?
yeah,
Here's a sweatshirt. Here's a sweatshirt. I got it for you, man. Just
Yeah. Hey man, the design goes crazy, I can't lie, but it's like people say at the end of the day, these sports are children's games. These are
hmm
children's games that we, as all kids, we all grew up playing sports in some way for the most part, and it's just like, I mean, it's very sad. I mean, like, what's next? And I know people joked about this when the Heat arena was up for naming rights and the crypto, like,
Crypto.
I forgot,
hmm
crypto arena, whatever they turned it to. People are saying, "Oh, Brazzers should get the arena and become the sponsor of the arena." We are one step away from Brazzers having a sponsorship in the NBA. Like, we're not
That's the
far off
craziest
from
part
it.
is I do remember that. You remember that thing
Like,
happening?
yeah.
and it's like I'm saying that with like I'm genuinely serious. Like people are like, ah, it's such a good joke for having brazos on a sports arena, but we're right there now. Like
I mean, in the
it's
college
there's
football
no
championship
safeguards.
game, they showed a porn star in the middle of the game. I mean, like we
Yeah,
just
like what are you gonna do? Are you gonna put a pole under the basket? What are you gonna do? Like what is this promotion? Like what's gonna
That's the
happen?
halftime show. It's a halftime show, Tyler. They're gonna do a strip club fiasco in the
Oh
center
man.
court.
And so these
here's
kids are
what
gonna
said. Adam Silver been dropping the ball. I mean, it's
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
He's so worried right now about this tanking
yes.
situation,
And
but he's
money.
over here promoting gambling and having all these gambling companies take over, and now he's doing a Magic City sponsorship. Like, okay, you're so worried about teams losing, but you want our kids to be worried about gambling and strippers. That's what you want our kids to be looking at. I gotcha.
He's
Yeah, I mean,
reaching.
yeah, Adam
He's
Smith has
absolutely
been bad.
done.
It's like he's like people talk about how bad the commissioner of baseball is, how much he's changing the game, but I'd say Adam Silver is much worse because like at least with baseball, they're at least trying to change the game for the better and make it faster,
Yeah,
and they're not really fully changing too many things, but the
they're spinning
in-season
it up. It's
tournament.
really all they're doing.
Yeah, like the NBA is just making shit up. Like this whole 65 games fiasco, the in-season tournament all of a sudden becoming a thing, and like which is a fine idea, I guess. They're kind of taking a note out of like soccer, I guess, with that, like Premier League and FA Cup and all that. But no one was asking for any of this, and especially the All-Star game changing every year. Then
Every year. Oh
they're gonna
God.
abolish the draft now. Like I'm so talking about abolishing the draft, like he does too much, and it feels like the NBA is always in the headlines for the wrong reasons. It's never to
hmm
promote the good players, it's to talk about the negativity and bad stuff the NBA is. And I still love basketball more than any other sport. I still think basketball, as far as like performance on the court, is one of the most electrifying sports you can watch. But Adam Silver does no favors for the league at all.
I
He's
mean,
got to go.
this is crazy if you think about it, bro. This is craziness. We're talking about a strip club in the NBA. Like you would never have talked about this 7 years ago.
No, gambling. People always talk about the intent. Like I always, growing up as a 26-year-old, like gambling was like demonized, and it was always illegal for the most part, unless if you went to like Vegas or a casino that you could gamble. And like again, it's for the better sake of people. But the second that sports gambling became a nationwide legality thing, these sports leagues are like, oh, baby, let's get some sponsorships. Let's ESPN has their own sports book now. Like this is not just like the NBA thing as far as gambling goes. This
Yeah.
is a every sport problem and just compromises integrity in general. Like and Tyler talking about the society aspect, it's just like people used to like we used to have shame. We used to shame
Hmm.
people for doing bad things, but now it's almost like we're all so numb to everything that nothing matters anymore. Like it just
Yep.
feels like this Magic City sponsorship's gonna go. The Hawks are probably gonna have a sold out crowd, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh,
Exactly.
sick!
Got
We
Ti
had our best
performing.
attendance on Magic City night. Let's do this again next year." And then it
hmm
just gets worse and worse. Like we don't learn because everything is just about money, and it's sad that it's like that.
And to really think, in the early 2000s, they were so worried about people like Allen Iverson and not dressing up in suit and ties and dressing the way he dressed. And now we're in 2026 having strip club sponsorships.
Yeah.
That's where we came from. So like that just it goes to show it went from really they were so worried about anything entering the game of basketball that could damage it. Like who cares what people are wearing? But now
Mhm.
we've gone too far, and I was like, oh yeah, let's start sponsoring strip clubs. Like, okay, hold on, that
Yeah,
doesn't make any
let's reel
sense.
back a little. Let's reel it
Like,
back.
come on, man.
What happened to the game that I love? What happened to the game that I love?
The
It
game's
just
gone, Tyler. The game's gone. I don't know how to
all,
say it.
all about the money now, man. But to wrap it up, let's talk. Let's just finish it up and talk about just the conferences. With starting with the Knicks, really, the Knicks just beat the Spurs. Spurs went on a whole streak of February, not losing a single game. But the Knicks not only beat them, they handed a pretty big loss to them, 114 to 89. It wasn't even that close to the game. But Spurs are only 3 games back from the Thunder. And we've talked about them a lot passing the Thunder. Honestly, at this point, I don't think they will because every time we talk about it, they're like 3 games back. Every single time they're 3 games
Mhm.
back. It's just like, oh, they could pass it, but they're still 3 games back. But for the Knicks, now again, I am a big kind of Knicks hater, being a Pacers fan. I don't. This Knicks team's a good team. It's a great Knicks team. They're a third place. They're not beating the Pistons with the Celtics though. They're just not. The Pistons every time they face the Pistons blow them out the water. Like it's not even a close game. And then
Mhm.
the Celtics are just aren't gonna lose them again in the playoffs. That's what it comes down to for me. The Celtics aren't gonna let that happen a second time in a row. It comes down to.
Hey,
Paris, if I were you, I'd be very, very worried about this New York Knicks team and what they're capable of. I think this was more a statement about the New York Knicks than it was about the San Antonio Spurs. The New York Knicks, the style of basketball that they play lately, and for back to last year, what they did, and to bring it into this year, they're playing good at the right time. Everybody knows that it's who can get hot when it matters, and this team is getting hot, and they do so in a way that translates in the playoffs. They play hard, they shoot the ball well, they have a great point guard. So and I didn't have the Knicks. Before this injury with Cleveland, I had Cleveland coming out of the East, but this New York Knicks team is going to give some hell in the playoffs, and you're going to have to play 5 to 6, 7 good games of basketball to beat this team because they're playing damn good and they are here. The Knicks aren't weren't coming. They're not next year. They're here.
It's funny because as someone that lives in New York, having an ear on the ground with a lot of people, like I work in the bar scene, so when I go from bar to bar, going to my different contacts, I talk to a lot of people at bars, especially Knicks fans, and Knicks fans are so beaten down at this point. I think New York fans in general are pretty much beaten down because they haven't had 18 this year since 2012 Super Bowl for the Giants. But I was talking to a Knicks fan that works as a sales rep for another place, and they were just like, "Yeah, man, like this Knicks team is good. They look very, very good, but I'm just so used to them being disappointed that I can't even like have any hopes for them." And like first off, that's very sad that that's even like that's just how their outlook is. And I
I
know
mean,
he's not the only
it's
one.
true.
Paris loves
It's
it.
true though.
It and it's understandable because like especially as big of a thing as New York is, like you can't get a bigger market in New York City, and they are in Madison Square Garden. Like you couldn't be any more dead center in New York City to like have all the fans behind you. Like we've seen when the Knicks get hot, how excited New York City gets when
Oh
the
yeah.
Knicks are hot. And I'm high on this Knicks team specifically. Like I don't have any negative bias towards these Knicks, honestly. Like I really do think that they have potential. And look, I mean Jalen Brunson, he's your bona fide number one guy, averaging 26 points per game. Like he's your ball handler. He's clutch. He can't really stretch the floor really, which is always going to be a problem. But they have enough people that shoot threes that they'll hopefully be fine. But the biggest thing I want to highlight is that they have four players that average one steal or more per game. You have OG at 1.7. Jose Alvarado, who they just got at the trade deadline, is also
Jose
1.7.
Alvarado, man.
Mikal
Underrated move.
Bridges at
Yeah.
1.5. and then Josh Hart at 1.1. Like
Josh Hart,
they are
yeah.
a lengthy, high effort team that if I was any team, like even the Celtics, like I still have doubts kind of creeping in the back of my mind because I really do think that Tatum's gonna really change everything, and we'll see how it goes. Like if he's 100%, then yeah, we're fine. It's not gonna be a problem. But as far as like defensive teams are, because when it gets to the NBA playoffs, intensity goes up. The same
Hmm.
fouls you were getting in the regular season are not going to be happening in the
The,
playoffs.
the game slows
And
down.
yeah, there's just so much that happens. Like you've seen plenty of rock fights where both teams don't even reach 100 points. Like there's probably gonna the Knicks are probably gonna have a lot of there's it's gonna be throwback to the early 2000s, late 90s. Friggin', they're gonna have rock fights with teams, and it's like if you don't have the mental fortitude to when the Knicks go on a run, you go on your own run. I could see them blazing past some teams. Like they're really. I think they really will be scary. I think health is going to play a factor where it's like
Always
if
does.
they lose, if and it's natural. Like an OG Anunoby, for example, like that's someone that I want to look at. Like we talk about the Cats of the world, we talk about Jalen Brunson of the world. We just talked about how Jose Alvarado is going to be probably a big factor with them coming up as a rotation guy now. But OG Anunoby such a quiet dude. A nice
Hmm.
little power forward who, he sits in the corner. He shoots 36% from three. So, like, if you leave him open, he's more likely going to knock it down than not. He's their best defender. Like, as far as wings go, I would not want to go up against OG if I'm a wing on
Yeah.
any other team, and they have the height to match up to a Cleveland. Like, Cat is very good. I know Knicks fans were very excited that maybe they'll get Giannis and they're willing to get rid of Cat, but hey man, you already have the bird in the hand here. You already have a 19 point per game guy that almost averages a steal, mind you. He averages point 0.9. So is Miles. Oh wait, no, Miles would probably miss the season. So technically, they could have had a full starting five full of one steal per game guys if Cat
Mhm.
gets his steals up a little more. And like, and he's a fantastic shooter. I mean, he's as far as bigs go, he's
Oh, he
arguably
can
one of the
shoot.
best shooters.
Oh yeah.
So, like a Cavaliers, for example, you may want to have like a Evan Mobley on him just to have a little bit better mobility and length on him. But like, I mean,
But that puts
there's
like
not going to
Jared
be too
Allen
many
on like
answers.
OG, and that's not gonna work. OG's gonna just blast past him.
And I've
You
been
know.
Yeah.
talking about it for weeks, but the East is shaping up to be one of the greatest years for the playoffs. I absolutely can't wait.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I think the Spurs are a year away, and I know there's people that'll challenge me on that. I do still think they're a year away. Thunder still have the edge there with Shea coming back and then still having crazy good odds to repeat out of the West. But Spurs are definitely formidable. They're definitely here, but I think they're a year away.
And before I talk more about the Knicks, I just want to mention this comment. Talk about the Knicks are kind of like a Cowboy style team with more playoff appearances. That's
Oh,
kind of
I
I
wish
do.
Barry was here. Barry would
Damn.
love that. He would love to hear that because he's a
But
Cowboys fan. Oh man, he would have gone a kick.
the Knicks. Okay, I will say I have nothing to take with the Knicks as how good of a team they are. They are a good team this year. I mean, I have a lot of dislike for Jalen Brunson, but I'll never. I can always put my dislike aside for how good of a player he is. I don't like Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's a good point. You can't. I can say one without saying the other. Jalen Brunson's a good point guard. I more thought it was funny how he wanted clutch player of the year last year, and then Tyrese was way more clutch than him last year. But Jalen Brunson, besides that, he's still a really good player. Cat's a good
And
player. Josh Hart is one of those players who's like annoying to face, kind of like a Caruso or Patrick Beverly. You don't want to face them. He's just he's a very pesky player. It's just like I said, any team under the Celtics and Pistons, they're beating. They're beating the Cavs, they're beating the Raptors, they're beating the 76ers. It's just I think the Celtics can beat them, and then again the Pistons when they have faced the Pistons this year, the Pistons have beaten them 126 to 111, 118 to 80, and 121 to 90. So not only are they beating
yeah.
them, they're blowing them out. So like, and I'm like, I get it. It might be a little bit closer in the playoffs, but like, that's not a good look to be going in the playoffs knowing you're getting blown out by this team every time.
Well, it's a crazy stat. The Pistons, they did it early in the season, and obviously this we weren't doing this show then, but they went on a 12-game winning streak, and
Mhm.
the last two times that they did that was the 03-04 NBA championship, and I believe one of their Bad Boy Pistons championships also had that 12-game winning streak. So as far as precedent goes, This Pistons team's as much of a juggernaut as anyone else. And I do want to say one more point as far as the Spurs go, because we felt like we kind of glazed over them. They went undefeated in the whole month of February. That's
Hmm.
not an easy thing. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, the Thunder started the season like 20-1 or something ridiculous like that, so it's not an unprecedented thing.
And the Hornets
But
outdid it. Funny enough, January, the Hornets dominated
it's
January.
yeah. So look, it's not the most fantastic stat, but at the same time, it's like I want to see Wemby healthy in the playoffs. Like
Yeah,
we haven't seen that yet, and that's gonna be more exciting. I think. So he's someone that's passionate and fiery. That he can't be guardable. Like he's just not guardable, plain and
no,
simple.
Hmm.
And they have so many pieces, young talent like Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper, and then you also have
Aaron
De'Aaron
Fox.
Fox,
Hmm.
who's so sneaky good that now he kind of falls by the wayside in the Spurs team. When on the Kings, he was like their main guy. So I mean, like they're just behind the Thunder. The Thunder are no doubt juggernauts, with or without SGA. I would love to see the plus minuses on SGA with and without him, because that's definitely fascinating. If we really want to go into the weeds of it, but yeah, I mean, like, look, as much as it feels like a foregone conclusion in the West, it almost seems like the Thunder are just ready to run it back and maybe go back to back. Like, do not sleep on the Spurs, man. That's all I'm
No,
gonna say. Do not sleep on them.
they'll
But
be
yeah,
around
I
for a while.
all they are. I mean, the Thunder and Spurs are the two teams that are about to run the West. I mean, because they're talented and they're young. The Rockets, they have they have Kevin Durant who's older. The Lakers, they got to blow it up, and the Timberwolves and Nuggets, they're going to be there because they got the players. I mean, you got Jokic, Jamal Murray, you got Ant. I mean, they're going to be there, but compared to the Spurs and Thunder, they just have everything. The entire starting lineup, and they're just there, and their coaching is really well. So those two teams are going to run the West. But that will wrap it up on this episode of the Pull the Truck podcast, brought to you by the Grit Network. I'm your host Paris, with my two co-hosts Tyler and Dylan. Tune in next week, back on Monday o'clock. We're ending.
Hopefully,
His dog's ready to leave too, man. His dog's
yeah,
ready
and
to go back.
hopefully I'll be back in the house next week, y'all.
Eh,
So
Fingers
He'll be back.
crossed. And
He'll be back in
appreciate
the
and
house. I'll have some water in my house. I mean, like,
shout out to chat. I wanna see more people chatting in it, because I do like interacting with the people that watch this show, because as much as the three of us, I mean, having a live stream, I want to hear more, even if it
oh
is
yeah,
just rage baiting about the Celtics. Like I enjoy having the talks. It's part of sports, is being able to talk about it. So
maybe
I'm all
absolutely.
for that.
me and Tyler can do it more next year when our teams actually perform and have a team. But we got
Hey,
nothing
you
to
know
say.
me, I'm still gonna talk, no matter what. I'm still gonna talk the trash. That's my favorite part about basketball.
But yeah,
All
tune
right,
in next
fellas.
week. We'll be back on Monday at 9 o'clock. So tune in next week on the Grid Network for the Pull the Chair podcast.